Thank you. It's my pleasure to deliver this statement from both the Feminist Forum and the Civil Society Forum. We, over 1,000 members of civil society organizations, trade unions, movements, and networks from around the world, actively engaging and contributing to the Financing for Development process since its inception, have convened both the Feminist Forum and a CSO Forum ahead of FfD4. This declaration is therefore both a reaction to the Compromiso de Sevilla and a political statement reflecting the shared recommendations we want to convey to UN member states and the international community. FfD4 is taking place at a time when the world is reeling with multiple crises: growing inequalities within and between countries, unsustainable debt burdens faced by the Global South that undermine the realization of human rights and the provision of public services, structural gender and racial inequalities, shrinking civic space, distant work deficit, continued illicit financial flows, including large-scale international tax abuse by corporations and by wealthy individuals, the rise in conflicts and militarism, cuts in official development assistance, and failure to uphold long-standing commitments while trillions are spent on wars and on genocide, the worsening triple planetary crisis, widespread hunger and malnutrition, growing fractures in the multilateral trade system. The SDGs are also largely off track, with 84% of its targets showing limited progress and even reversals. These massive challenges that we currently face are systemic in nature. Despite their gravity, they are not unsurmountable. They are deeply entrenched in and reproduced by the inequitable design of the current international financial architecture and the global economy. Overcoming these global challenges is, in fact, a political choice that requires an unwavering commitment to justice, equity, democracy, and the overall well-being of people and planet, in a way that we have continuously failed to see from decision makers, particularly those in the global north who benefit from the status quo. By adopting the Compromiso de Sevilla, member states compromised on the ambition of the outcome document that should have delivered to reflect the urgency of our times. We are also disappointed by the lack of transparency and accountability of the process, which excluded civil society from access to the attributed text, as well as from the last rounds of negotiations. Disclosure of civic space continued up to Sevilla, where civil society participation in the conference became tokenistic. This must not set precedent for future processes. Civil society remains seriously concerned by the lack of political will to embrace bold reforms and the blockage of any real progress shown in the negotiations, particularly by Global North countries, which continue to protect undemocratic institutions where they hold the decision-making power. We support Global South countries' proposals for actionable mandates for the reform of the international financial architecture, especially on debt and aid architectures, which were blocked throughout the negotiations, but they are a precondition to redress the colonial legacies enshrined in the current financial architecture and offer real pathways to unlock the much-needed resources for countries in the South to finance their own development priorities. The Compromiso de Sevilla stands as a compromise to the lives of millions of people in the Global South living under the subjugation of unsustainable debt, compounded by the hardest impacts of a climate crisis and ecological crises to which they did little to contribute to. As usual, women are forced to bear the largest burden in times of crises and to fill in for the gaps resulting from austerity. A feminist approach to financing for development demands that these cross-cutting issues remain central in all areas of global economic governance. Far from being a testament to the success of multilateralism, the compromise text reflects the outcome of a race to the bottom pushed by the Global North. The Civil Society Forum participants also raised the alarm on how no financial justice can be reached without an urgent end to escalating wars, territorial invasions, and genocide. We reject the militarization of aid and the diversion of development cooperation towards security objectives that perpetuate inequality and harm and demand redirecting military spending towards financing public services, social infrastructure, and environmental resilience. The time to act is now. If all member states are serious about their claims to support inclusive, fair, democratic, and sustainable development for all, and to truly strengthen multilateralism, the FfD4 outcome should have reflected a genuine partnership between rights holders, member states, and development partners, based on power sharing, transparency and accountability, strengthening the integrity and ambition of the Financing for Development agenda. Despite the sidelining of civil society voices while enabling a corporate capture of development, which unsurprisingly led to an outcome document that reinforces the status quo, we refuse to accept this trajectory as inevitable. We will accept nothing less than a commitment to follow up from Sevilla, ensuring meaningful progress in the reform of the international financial architecture. This includes the commitment towards legally binding framework conventions on international tax, sovereign debt, and international development cooperation. A detailed version of both the statements of the Feminist and CSO Forum declarations with all our recommendations will be submitted. And in the meantime, as we have shown this morning with all the energy and the spirit of international solidarity that we brought to the CSO action that happened in the main hall, we look forward to staying engaged in this process and participating meaningfully towards a global financial architecture that works for people and planet. Thank you.